The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stage Door Show. Tonight, this is Dave Hondel. With me, I have a wonderful singer-songwriter who has a new project entitled Some Girls Don't Cry that's already hit over 250,000 streams on Spotify alone. We're very excited to learn more about that, so let's bring her in right now. So Billie Jo Jones, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks again for joining us. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We were talking a little bit before we recorded, but you have a full-length album. Like I said, it's entitled Some Girls Don't Cry. It's getting a lot of hits right now, and I know you had some radio play as well. So talk about that project, kind of how that came about and what you're looking to do with it in the future.
For sure. So I've been working with Kent Wells, which is Dolly Parton's producer in Nashville, and we did a 10-song full-length album, my first ever country album. It came out August 23rd, full of just really great songs. And one of them was the first song that we released to radio, was Right Now Kind of Girl. It hit number one in Texas. It was my first ever number one in Texas.
If Father Time held out his hand, I'd grab a hold and run just like the wind. And he'd say, darling, maybe just slow down. And I'd say I plan to do just that. The day they let me down, and I don't play games, 'cause I ain't good at losing. I don't waste time when it comes to choosing. And I can't wait and watch the spinning of this world. I'm a right here, right now kind of girl.
It did really well. It was like number one 2 weeks in a row on CDX True Indie. And we had a lot of really great success with that song. And then right now, my current single is Some Girls Don't Cry, which is the title track of the album. And we're sitting at number 3 in Texas. So maybe tomorrow it'll be number one. If not, maybe next week, hopefully. And if not, it did really well. So it actually got retired off of CDX True Indie because it was number one 4 weeks in a row.
You thought you hurt me, you thought you got me good. Then you thought I'd take you back. Problem is my daddy taught me what I'm worth, and no boy can put a price tag on that. Some girls worry and need that type of guy. Some girls don't cry. Pop that champagne, here's to no more pain. I'm going dancing tonight. All my girlfriends, the whole damn weekend, I think you finally done me right. Some girls don't cry.
So it did so good. The whole album is oh my gosh, I love it because I wanted my first ever album to really mean something, and there's a lot of really meaningful songs, a lot of fun songs, upbeat songs, and I think there's something for everybody on there.
I'm watching your video. I watched your video on YouTube. Some Girls Don't Cry, and talk about the making of that video, because it was a lot of fun. I mean, there was a lot of really great moments in the video that I really enjoyed. So it was well produced, well directed, and talk about that video as well.
Yeah, thank you. The music video, oh my gosh, I got to bring 8 friends from Texas to Nashville, and we filmed that video all around Nashville at some of my favorite places. So you'll see Layla's Bar, which is, right there on Broadway in Nashville, and we went over to Midtown area, over at Winners and Losers, and we got to ride around in this really cool stretch limousine Hummer thingy. I don't know what you call those things, but it was so fun. I got to bring my friends and make that video, and we had a blast doing it. So you can definitely tell when you watch the video that we had a lot of fun making it. So.
And you got to talk about this, because every person's dream that's in country music and music in general is to step on that stage at the Grand Ole Opry, and you had a chance to do that. So talk about that experience.
I did. Oh my gosh, I have cold chill bumps now. Oh my gosh, it was one of the coolest experiences because my grandparents raised me since I was one, and I'd make them sit in the living room and listen to me sing, and so we've always had dreams of me, being on the Grand Ole Opry stage. And although I did not step in the circle because that is a very sacred place, and it was not ready for me yet, but hopefully soon I'll get that opportunity. But I got to stand on the stage and sing "God Bless the USA" with Lee Greenwood. And several other amazing artists for a Lee Greenwood benefit that they held there. And it was, oh my gosh, it was incredible. Absolutely loved it. I felt right at home though.
Absolutely. Well, that's pretty incredible. And, you're talking about being in your living room, singing for your grandparents. And I understand that you've been singing since you could actually talk.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you when the love of music came, but it sounds like it was pretty early.
It definitely was. My grandparents raised me on what I call the oldies but goodies. So I grew up listening to Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, Ray Price, George Jones. All the greats. Patsy Cline. I could sit here and name them for days. But I definitely love traditional country music. So that was my first love, and what I'm still trying to mix into the modern country that we have today. So I absolutely love the traditional side of country, though.
So talk about the first time you've actually stepped on stage and sang for an actual audience. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, so the first stage that I actually stepped on, I was 9 years old, and I sang at our local church. And so it kind of went from singing at churches to singing at festivals, and I started singing the national anthem at basketball games and football games in high school. Then I got to sing the national anthem at like the girls' state basketball playoffs in Austin that they held each year, and then went from there to being able to open for Ray Price and the Oak Ridge Boys when I was 18 years old, and then started making my own music and playing shows with the band, and been doing that for quite a while as well. So absolutely love being on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about your process about writing music, because that's something that I like to ask artists that I interview, because it's a different process really for everybody. And I know, like in Nashville, I know you're out of Texas, but when you're in Nashville, I mean, do you have songwriters that you work with in different cities, or you have contacts out there that you co-write with, or do you write your own music? What's your process for writing music?
I mean, I've written a few by myself, but I am definitely more of a co-writer. I love to write with other people. And so there's several people here in Texas that I write with, but over the past couple of years, getting to work with Get Joe Records and with Kent Wells, they're in Nashville. They have introduced me to several hit songwriters in Nashville. It's been really cool to kind of step over to that part of the world. I feel like, because it's I feel like there's a Texas thing, and then there's a Nashville thing, and like people do things very differently on both sides. I'm not saying either one is right or wrong, or either one, but I love both of them. And so when I get to go over to Nashville, the writing process is a lot different, but I love it. I love writing in Texas, and I love writing in Nashville. And I really don't have like a set way of, oh well, I sit and do this, or I make this list or whatever. Like I have, my phone literally has note after note after note after note of song idea, and I just label it song idea, and I'm driving down the road and I put the lyrics in, and then if I matter right, they're like, well, does anyone have anything? And then we just talk about it, and if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's kind of what happened with I was top 8 in the Jack Ingram TX Songwriter U contest here in Austin, Texas. And so we got to sit down with Jack Ingram, Liz Rose, and Tranny Anderson. And I actually got to write a song with Tranny, and that's how it happened. Was I had a note and I had a melody. I had like a little bit of a verse and a chorus, and we all sat down and wrote it together, and it turned into something really cool. So yeah,
that's amazing. A lot of times people that might write music or have ideas for music, and it might be sitting there for a long time, maybe years, in fact. And
oh yeah,
so do you, when you get an idea, when you put together a song, do you ever find it that you might not want to release it right away, and you might wait?
Gosh, that's so hard, because I mean, there's really not I don't think there's a right or wrong way when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, everyone kind of does their own thing, but for me, like we wrote a song. I didn't write it, but Lynn Snow and Aaron Weatherholt wrote a song about the time that I was recording, this album that just came out, and I heard it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this song is, so good. And I was like, but I don't want to put it on this album. Like, I want that for the next album. Like, but it's a song that is, I don't know, I feel like it would maybe it'll blow up. I think it would. I think it will, but because we really have some really great songs on this album. We've already had one number one. Hopefully, working on a second number one off this album, and I wanted to save it for the next one. So I don't know. I think it's just maybe kind of a feeling that you get, or you just want to kind of go with your gut on it. So yeah, it's kind of a hard process though sometimes.
Yeah. Is there a venue that you really enjoy playing and that you remember, puts a smile on your face every time you think about it?
Oh man, I got to make my Bluebird debut this year as well. So that was the top of my bucket list. I've had since I was a little girl. It's been the Opry, it's been the Ryman, it's been the Bluebird. All three of those, and in Nashville. And I actually just played third in Lindsley last week, and that was iconic as well. That was so much fun. I got to, bring my full band up there, and we had a blast. So there's so many venues, so many great venues, and so many venues that I still want to, try and get in. And I'm going to keep working at it and get in there as soon as I can. So.
Well, one of the questions I asked, we talked about earlier, that you mentioned that you did the national anthem. When you do that song, I know you probably did it many times, but the first time you sang that song, I mean, because I know that people are always worried about the words and make sure that they get the words right when they have the microphone. And did you ever have a problem with the words at all, or did you do it
100%.
right away the first time?
No, 100%. I mean, I did do it right, and I did it right several times until one time it's the one song that still to this day. I mean, I just sang at the Rangers game, here in Texas at Globe Life Field.
Wow.
There's 30,000 people there and people watching at home. But I still get so nervous. Like I can be so nervous in front of 30,000 people or in front of 10 people. I'm still going to freak out and be nervous. But one time I sang the national anthem. I don't even know why I'm telling you this story. I sang the national anthem for it was a Miss America, like preliminary pageant or something. It was in Plano. It was a big deal. Okay. I'm dressed to the nine and in my little evening gown dress, getting ready to sing the national anthem. Completely messed up the whole song. I couldn't even. I did the like, oh say can you see by the dawn's early light, that part, and then but when I'm supposed to go into like the second verse, I guess, of the national anthem, I immediately skipped it and went straight to "And the Rockets Right There," that part. Completely skipped the whole verse. And when I got done, everyone still clapped, and and it was filmed, so it was taped for TV. Luckily, it wasn't live. But when I got off stage, they were like, "Hey, we're gonna need you to stick around until after this pageant's over, and we're gonna need you to redo that."
Oh, for TV.
So I had to redo the whole song at the end of the show because I had messed it up so bad.
Aww.
And to this day, I have never forgotten it. And luckily, only the people there knew that I had to do that. So it wasn't, like it was all over the world. But I still don't forget that. And I still freak out and like go over the words in my head like every time, 100 times before I sing it. So, and actually, it's so funny. I just got asked to sing the national anthem and God Bless America for the very last Rangers game coming up like next weekend. So I'm excited for that. It'll be fun.
What a great honor. I mean, to do that. And I always wondered that because I go to a lot of games and I'm always nervous for the person singing, these are Grammy winners and whatever sometimes. And it's like, it's got to be a hard thing to stand up there and try to remember all the words.
It really is. I mean, I'll tell you at the Rangers game, like I can see the words, like they're going around the stadium. Like I can see the words. So that does help calm my nerves a little bit, but at the same time there's the delay, like you can imagine like the delay and the echo, like wherever you're singing it, most of the time there's a delay. So I'm singing but hearing what I just sang, and so it's like this whole, I don't know how to explain it. It is awful. But one of my friends, Holly Tucker, she lives in Waco, she's a singer-songwriter, she's on The Voice, but she taught me a trick to tap my toe like inside of my boot, because I wear boots, and so you tap your toe, and so when I'm singing, I'm focusing on that, and then I'm not listening to like the delay. So there's some advice. If anyone sees this and you sing it, there you go.
There you go. Well, I appreciate that. Definitely. A lot of our listeners are artists. And so I always ask people for advice, somebody that's been there and doing it. And so what kind of advice would you have somebody just getting maybe just out of school and they want to get into the business? They don't really know anything about it. They don't have representation and so forth. So what kind of advice could you have for somebody out there listening?
Oh gosh, I would probably have to say that like one of the biggest lessons that I learned and it was probably a couple of years ago, is no matter who you meet, where you are, you're networking, you're in the music business, you're meeting people, you're getting to know people. Um, Constantly be aware of your surroundings and the people that you're meeting, and don't ever accidentally come across the wrong way to someone, or that, if they thought that you were being rude and you really weren't being rude, you just, you were busier in the moment or whatever. Just always make time and talk to that person that's trying to talk to you, that's trying to get your attention, because you never know who they could be. And you never know who they might be to you later on down the road, because that person might be, a oh my gosh, like a waiter at a restaurant, and then that person's going to be the president of, Warner Records. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
True.
Like, is you never know who someone is going to be later on, and those connections and the relationships that you make with people. No matter if you're having a bad day, try to just control your face and because I speak from experience with that. And so I and that's only happened to me one time, and I honestly was not being rude at all, but the person just really took it that way, and has still to this day not let me live it down. So
like they never forget.
Yeah. And some people, they like to hold grudges for a very long time. So,
yeah. And then nowadays, I mean, everything's on social media. And that, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, because I know social media is a huge thing for artists nowadays, connecting with their fans and putting out, their material. But also, I mean, you got to be careful everything you put on. I mean, you could, one little misstep could really ruin somebody's career. And when you put it on social media, when I was growing up, obviously we didn't have social media, we didn't have phones, we didn't have anything like that. So people just didn't know, what was going on in people's careers or lives, unless it was on TV or the radio. So, talk about how you manage your social media and how you navigate that, because I know it's like a big deal when you're in the public eye.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm so thankful that my grandparents raised me, because they were definitely old school raising me. And so I learned very quickly growing up. My grandma always taught me, don't ever say anything, don't ever post anything that you wouldn't want me to read, like that I wouldn't want my grandma to read, and or that you wouldn't want Jesus to see. Like, don't post or say anything that you wouldn't want me or Jesus to read or to see. And that always stuck with me from the time I was a little girl. And I'm telling you, I have been so self-conscious of that. And, everything I post or everything I share or even like, because now you can see what people are liking on their things. Right. And I'm very self-aware, of what I'm doing. And not only that, like the kind of music that I sing and play, and the shows that I put on, no matter where I'm at, you're going to see the same, different show, but same show, because, I am who I am. And I want to be a great role model for, the younger generation that's coming up. And I have been for several people. There's a girl that started watching me when she was 8 years old, and now she's 16, and she still stays in contact with me and tells me how proud she is of me and watches me and has watched my career grown, over the past several years. And that's the kind of person that I want to be. And that's the image that I want to portray to everyone else. So I guess that's more advice, is to watch what you say and do, and don't post anything your grandma or Jesus wouldn't want you to post. So
yeah, that's good advice. What about support system? I know it's important to have a support system around you, especially when you're in the public eye, and the people circle around you is super important with that. So talk about your support system and the importance of that as an artist.
Yeah, I have a great support system. I mean, not only business wise, I've got great, Texas radio promoter, great Nashville radio promoters. I've got a great independent label that, has signed me, that's been working with me for a couple of years, great producer, all of that on the business end. But all business aside, if you don't have a good support system at home, it's going to be very hard to struggle or to deal with whenever you're in this business. And I've got a really great support system. I have kiddos, but my best friend is actually my babysitter. So she watches my kids and has for like 9 years now. She lives with me. And it weren't for her, I couldn't go, follow my dream and do this. So my husband supports my career. He's great. He's learned when to say something, when not to say something, because that's, all that's very important when it comes, to this business, is you have to be careful with what you say and do, and what your, spouse or even kids, like I have to get on my kids sometimes because they do these TikTok dances, and I'm like, you can't be posting that on TikTok. Like they're going to, put it together that you're my kid and that song has a bad word in it and you can't be doing that, So it is great. You have to have a great support system, business wise and, relationship, family wise. So yeah.
When talk about the first time you've heard your song on the radio or heard that it was on the radio, depending on where it was, what was your thought about that? I mean, what was your feeling? Like, because I think it's like a spiritual experience when you see something that you put together or that you wrote, and to see it on national TV or hear it on, radio. I mean, that's got to be a great moment as well.
Oh my gosh, yes. I released my first song to radio was, I think, back in 2018. And it was on 99.9 KMU, which is our local radio station here. And I knew it was going to play because I heard someone call and request it. I think my grandparents or someone called and requested it. So I knew they were going to play it. And so in that moment, it was still really cool because the first time, my song being played on the radio. But then later on, when I was driving down the road or driving from here to another gig, and it just came on without me knowing it, like that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is cool. And then now, since my songs have kind of been taken off and going all over the place, and I've done radio tours from Texas up to New York and all over, I have, friends that live in other states, and they're like, your song's playing, your song's playing, your song's playing. Like the other day, there was like 3 people that wrote me, and it was 3 different radio stations completely far apart. That was cool. That was really cool. So yeah, I love moments like that. That's
pretty amazing. You have a tour. I mean, you're touring. You have some dates coming up. Talk about some of the performances that you're doing, and where our listeners can find you, I guess, on social media.
Yeah, so everyone can also, always go to my website, either billiejomusic.com or billiejojones.com. And, my full schedule is on there. My links to Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff is on there. But I have shows literally all over the place. So I just came back from Nashville last week and played another show in Texas. And I'm all over Texas, really. But I'm back and forth between here and Nashville a lot. But they can definitely find all of my shows on there. And I know this weekend I'm in like Rockwall, Texas area. Next weekend, I think I'm over in Houston area, and then I'm playing a show with Jack Ingram next week in Austin at the Saxon Pub. So there's lots of shows every single weekend. So y'all find one close to you and come out. It'll be a good time.
Before we go, I always ask this question. I'm going to ask you as well. But when it's all said and done, Billie Jo, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to think about you when they think of your name?
Man, I've thought about this so many times. I want people to see that. Oh gosh, don't get emotional. I want people to see that a little girl who had a little bit of a rough start in life, because my grandparents raised me, because my mom was and still is a drug addict, and there's a song about that on my album, by the way. Y'all check that out. I want them to see that little girl never gave up, and no matter how many obstacles in life came at her, she stayed strong and pushed through. So, absolutely.
Well, that's beautiful. Some girls don't cry, and
I'm crying. I know,
but that's okay. That's okay.
Some girls do cry.
Everybody got check that out. Go on to Spotify or any of the streaming platforms that are selling this. Get this album. It's amazing. And again, check out her songs and her music video that's on her website and also YouTube at billiejomusic.com. I'm going to spell it BILLIEJO music.com. So make sure you check that out. Can't wait to have you back, Billie Jo, and best of luck to you on this project.
Thank
and anything
you.
Else that you do. And we'll definitely follow your career. You're a new fan here. So
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This game, you always try to play with me. These days, my heart is running